Hello everyone and welcome to day 5 and the last day of my series featuring retired or retiring products. In the previous 4 videos I featured 3 to 5 cards based on one stamp set, but today I'm going to show you 3 cards from 3 different stamp sets. So I have this one, which is from Henna Hearts, this stamp set. And then I have this card, which is from, oh, it's got a little glare on it, but let me see there, this one, which is from the Seascape bundle. And actually I only use the dies from it. These dies, I didn't use the stamp set at all. And then I have an easel card that I made with, let me move this over, the Sweets and Treats stamp set. And that's to show you that it's not just for Christmas. Even though it was in the holiday catalog last year, there are sentiments in this stamp set that are not Christmas. There's a happy birthday, I love ya, there's a heart, could be used for Valentine's Day, a tasty treat for someone sweet, not necessarily Christmas at all, and it says, any way you slice it, I'm thankful for you. So the only sentiment that's Christmassy, it says, bring on Christmas. And this image looks Christmassy. This image with a candy apple could be, fall. Pies could be any time, but I think we a lot of times think of pies as for the fall. But so I just wanted to show you that you can use many of the Christmassy stamp sets for something other than Christmas. So pull out your Christmas stamp sets and take a look at them and see if they have any sentiments that are not Christmas. In this case, I was surprised to see happy birthday. So I'm going to show you how to do that one. But before I get started, I wanted to revisit one of the cards that I made yesterday that I posted in the Sentimental Swirls. And I gotta just tell you, I was not, after I was looking at this, I really was not in love with this Blushing Bride sentiment tag. I just didn't, I mean, I thought I liked it at first, and then the more I looked at it, the more I didn't like it. It just was kind of jarring, and it just didn't do anything for the card. So I'm taking it off. And this is a mint macaron, card base and some embellishments. So I cut out I die cut a piece of, not die cut, I have the postage stamp punch, that's what I used. And I stamped for you, and now I'm gonna glue that down because I think it goes with the card much better than the Blushing Bride. So I just wanted to revisit it with you, just to show you what I did, in case you were thinking the same thing I was, that Blushing Bride really was not doing it for you, because it didn't do it for me either. So there, that makes me feel much better. It goes much better. The coloring blends. So that's just a follow-up from yesterday's video. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to set it aside. So the first card I'm going to show you is the one from Henna Hearts. And I have to say, this is the first card I've made with it since I got it. And this is what it looks like. They're very nice. There's nothing wrong with them, but I just didn't do anything with them. I'm not sure why. I just wasn't feeling terribly inspired. All right, so the hand-penned designer series paper, which of course is retiring, I think it's been a pretty popular designer series paper, especially, I mean, I've loved it. So I used a piece of it. I didn't have a full piece, so I just cut it. I just used what I had and then put a piece of white next to it. Now I don't have, for the one that I'm going to make for you right now, I didn't have this purple paper, so I'm using a different piece from hand penned. So let me just put this together. So we're going to start with a piece of, and there's a few layers to this, as you can see. So the card base is Gorgeous Grape, and then on top of that I put a piece of Designer Series paper along with a sliver of white, then another layer of Gorgeous Grape that I popped up on dimensionals, then Highland Heather, and then a white layer on top. So the card base is let's see. No, the card base is your tip. No, that's the other piece. The card base is the same that we always cut. So it's going to be 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to burnish it. Okay. And then, as I said, I have my piece of hand pen DSP, and this one measures 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then I have a piece of basic white cut at 1.5 by 5 1/4. So I'm actually going to tack down the piece of basic white first. And then the Designer Series paper. Okay. All right, and then this piece is 4 3/4. Now this is where the measurements on my little sticky come in. 4 3/4 by 3 1/2 is for this layer. But I'm not going to tack it down because I'm going to pop it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some of my layering. So now I'm going to take my Highland Heather, and that's at 4 1/2 by 3 1/4. Now, I already pre-stamped the sentiment, and I used my Stamparatus because when I was stamping it, I was coming out with areas that had not gotten properly inked. So I put it on my Stamparatus, and that made it easier for me to re-ink and then make the coloring bolder. And then let's see, where did I have it? Oh, now I can't remember what, oh, here it is. So for the Missing You sentiment, it is from the Feels Like Home stamp set. So I'm going to tack that down. Okay, and then I'm going to adhere it to the card. Now, you can go ahead and, if you wanted to, just to tack it down directly onto the card. I chose to pop it up. Now, you can use the individual dimensionals, you know, just a little hexagon dots, which is fine. Stampin' Up! Also has these foam adhesive strips for larger areas. And I'm going to use those. So, let me see. Just peel them off. You know what, I might be overdoing it, I'm not sure, but I don't like seeing this empty spot right there. Okay. And then you just peel the little paper off. It's sort of like the way you would on tear and tape. And that's it. And then on the inside of the card, I stamped "Never Not Loving You" because I thought it kind of went with the sentiment on the front. And that sentiment I got from the Art in Bloom stamp set right here. And I brought back the for the little decoration on the inside, the henna hearts. I just used this image right there in Gorgeous Grape. So that is card number 1. So as you can see, the only difference between the two is the designer series paper that I chose to use. So I hope you like that one. Set those aside. And how about if we do, this one is made with a window sheet. I don't know if you've ever made these before, you probably have. And the designer series paper is from, let's see, dig it out here. It is the Waves of the Ocean. And this is from the specialty offering earlier this year where you could buy the stamp, the paper. Well, anyway, it was a suite. So, let me show you how to put this one together. Put my pieces together. I pre-cut some of them because it was just easier. So, the okay, so, and of course I didn't write down my dimensions. This, oh, I know what it is. All right, so this is this piece is cut at 7 inches, right? So it's cut at 7 inches by 4 1/4. And then you're going to score it at 5 1/2. And then you're going to get this, what is it? It's like 1 1/2 flap over the top, right? So just score it 7 by 4 1/4, score at 5 1/2. And then what we're going to do for the top is I cut a piece of this designer series paper, and I cut that, let's see, I cut it at 4, because that's a 1/4 inch smaller, 4 by 1 1/4. So this is, 4.5 by, what did I say, 1.5? Yeah, so this is 4 by 1 1/4. So let me tack it down. Okay. Now, you know what, let's go ahead and tack down the designer series paper for the back. This is what you're going to see through the window sheet. And it's cut at 5 1/4 by 4. Okay, and the window sheet, let's see, what did I cut the window sheet at? I think I cut it at the same dimensions. No. So the 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so now what we'll do is you're going to attach it to just to this flap, not to the inside, just to the inside of this flap. So what I'm going to do is just put some adhesive on the inside of this flap. Okay, and then once you do that, then you're just going to line up this window sheet to the crease. And then fold this down. And then you'll be able to open and close it, right? So there you go. Now for the bottom, you'll cut a piece of, this should be 4 1/4. Let me make sure, yeah, 4 1/4, and that measures 1 1/2. And you know what I'm gonna, and so that means that this is 4 by 1 1/4, just as it was at the top. Okay, and then let's see, I think I'm going to use this adhesive. Okay, and then you're going to attach this panel to the bottom of the window sheet. Okay, there we go. Now I already pre-cut the coral and the seahorse, and I used the ombre specialty paper. This is retiring. I'm going to try to order more. Hopefully it's not sold out, because anything that's retiring is only available while supplies last, but if they still have some, I'm going to get it. And this is paper. It comes, you get 4 sheets total, and you get 1 sheet each of Gorgeous Grape, Night of Navy, Mango Melody, and Poppy Parade. Now, but they're ombre, so you're going to get those colors like the Gorgeous Grape, and it turns into Poppy Parade, and it turns into Mango Melody. So they're blended together. Not all of them are. And like this one is all Night of Navy, but it's ombre, so it starts dark and it goes light, and it's sparkly. So I cut for my sample, I cut this one, but I didn't have any more of that color, so I cut it out of the Night of Navy. So that one's going to go there. And then for the coral, this is the one that goes from a light Poppy Parade to the Mango Melody, and I thought it really made it look like kind of like real coral. So because it has like a lot of delicate pieces, so this is what you do. I think I've showed you this before, so this is not a new technique that I've showed you, but if you're watching for the first time, so you take a silicone craft sheet, right? Squeeze a little glue, get one of these little cheapo sponges at the dollar store. Cut it into smaller pieces, because I don't know, sometimes they come like round. You get a chunk of a round sponge. Just cut it into smaller pieces. Put one of those little mini binder clips to give yourself a little handle, and then you just dab the sponge into it, and then dab the back of what you want to glue down, and then that way you don't have a lot of glue all over the place. So this is going to be, lift up your window sheet and you're going to put it on the inside. But I got to just kind of see where I want it to go. All right, I think I want it to go there. So there it tacks down nicely without having a lot of globs of glue everywhere. Okay, now we'll do the same thing with our seahorse. We'll dab him with some glue. And this one, oops, I think I need a little bit more. He's going to get attached directly to the front of the window sheet. Okay. All right, I'm done with that. All right. And then what I did was I took some crushed curry cardstock, and I will tell you that Bumblebee, the retiring Bumblebee cardstock, it's almost identical to crushed curry. I'm holding on to it. Anyway, I stamped Enjoy the Moment, because I didn't really like any of the sentiments that were in the Seascape. Let me show you. You'll see what I mean. And I needed something small. It just says thank you, and I didn't want thank you. I'm here for you always, and just thought you should know how wonderful you are. Well, that doesn't really go, does it? So I pulled out, let's see, where is it? And this is the stamp set called Enjoy the Moment. I got it free last year for, was it On Stage or something? Never liked it. Just not my thing, but I do like the sentiments and Enjoy the Moment. I like that. A little note, I've used that sentiment whenever I've made Post-it note holders, and the cover I stamp it with this, a little note. So, and then of course it's got a happy birthday. You can't go wrong with happy birthday. So for this one I just pulled it out and used Enjoy the Moment. And then I mounted it onto a piece of the Mango Melody ombre specialty paper, and then just trimmed around it, really, just with my paper cutter. And I am going to just, let me see, did I pop that up? No. Oh, I did put dimensionals on the back. All right, I'm just going to put that down here. And there you go. So similar but different color seahorses. And I think the way the coral looks in the background looks great. And that, what's the name of it again? The Waves of the Ocean Designer Series paper has tons and tons of possibilities. I like it. So I hope you like this card. So if you've got the window sheets, use them. If you don't, they're worth it to buy. It's not something you're going to use all the time, but it really makes a pretty card. So I hope you like this one. And let's see, the third card I'm going to show you, the Easel card. Right, so here's the Easel card with the Sweet Treats stamp set. Let's see, okay. I already have the pieces pre-cut. And one of the things I wanted to mention was that I did case this card from Michaela Titheridge in the UK. I was searching on Pinterest for some ideas, and so I came across hers, which was a birthday card, and I said, oh, I love it. So I want to give a shout out to Michaela Titheridge in the UK and thank her for her design. So just so you know where I got the design. Mostly the ones I'm showing you are just my designs, but every now and then somebody else has a design that I like and I want to use it, and when I do, I want to give them the credit for it and not pretend that it's mine. Okay, so we have, let's start. All right, what did I do with my, all right, so this is going to be, so your card base is going to be cut at 4 by 11, and then you're going to cut it at, score it at 2 3/4, because I did have this written down, but of course, I can't find what I do with my sticky. It's probably stuck here on one of these other ones. Anyway, just so you know, so when you're 4 by 11, and you're going to score at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. All right, and then we're going to do this. So let's see, how did I do this again? I'm pathetic. Yeah, gee whiz. So the front flap is this part, and then this part, the short part, is the part that's going to come down to become your easel, like that. Okay. All right, and then now on my sample, I had used some pink designer series paper, which after I had everything already tacked down, I wasn't enthusiastic about, but it's the way it goes. I wasn't going to tear it apart. And I found this sort of brick paper in among my Christmas paper. It's, let's see, so the reverse side is pine cones, and because the coloration on this is like cherry cobbler, and there's really not a lot of paper that I had that matched cherry cobbler. So I was rummaging around in my stash, and I said, well, what's on the reverse side? So I found this. So I'm not sure that what bricks have to do with cupcakes. However, that's what I'm using. Okay, and so instead of this pink paper, I'm using this one. And this one is cut at 4 inches by 2 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and tack that down. And then I have my cherry cobbler piece, which I die cut with these stitched rectangles, and it measures like 3 3/8 by like 4 3/4. And we'll tack that down in a minute, but I pre-stamped the piece that's going to go on top, and that is measuring 3 inches by 3 3/4. So, but I'm going to do a little coloring And I'm using, let me see which one, the dark cherry cobbler. And I'm gonna, this is a red velvet cupcake. So I'm gonna just fill in the cupcake wrapper with cherry cobbler. Okay. And for the frosting, I'm using, let's see, what have I got? Dark crumb cake. And there's this little piece right, you know, it's more like the cupcake rather than the frosting. So I'm just going to fill that in. And then for the frosting, I'm using a light crumb cake. And now I'm actually going to go back over the cupcake in the middle section. I'm going to go over it with dark crumb cake. Okay, and then I'm going to color in the cake stand with the dark crumb cake. Doesn't have to be, it could be any color. Coloring done. Okay. Now, I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of this one. But again, I think I'm going to bring in my adhesive strips. Because you end up putting about 1,000,000 dimensionals in these. By using the strips, you're actually kind of like being more efficient. If you have a large, that is, if you have a large surface you need to cover, right? If you just have a small surface to cover, obviously, that makes more sense just to put a little dimensional on it. I just thought this was kind of like a hidden gem. I'm not sure how many people are aware that we have these, but they're great. Very helpful. Okay. Okay. Oh, you know what I didn't do on this, and I'm going to do it right now. I pulled out my Wink of Stella, and I'm going to put a little bit of Wink of Stella on the frosting. I mean, frosting usually doesn't have glitter on it, but mine does. Okay. So what we're going to do when we attach this is we're only going to attach it. We're only going to put adhesive on this front piece, right? Just on this one piece, because that's what's going to end up sticking up, right? It'll be just like that. So as you can see on this one, you know, when it goes down, it looks like that, and then it goes up. So we're only going to put adhesive on the front piece. So you kind of have to figure out where your adhesive is, because you're not going to put it on the entire thing. All right. So about there. All right, so now what we can do is put together the part that is going to hold the easel open, because otherwise the whole thing would never stand up. So I have a piece of cherry cobbler measuring 4 inches by 1 3/4. And I have a piece of this designer series paper cut at 3 3/4 by 1 1/2, so it's really just 1/4 of an inch smaller than the the cardstock layer. This is where the liquid glue forgiveness comes in, because I just tacked it down a little askew and I was able to recover it. Now I'm going to put, I'm going to bring back my adhesive strips. Because we need to pop it up. Bring my card back in, and we'll put it at the bottom. And then I pre-printed a little happy birthday label from the Sweet Treats stamp set that I showed you. So it's just right in here. That's all I did. When I stamped it with some, and then you can see I made a boo-boo on the back, and I used cherry cobbler ink. And then I stamped another cupcake, and I'm going to pop that up on a couple of dimensionals. Oh, and you know what? Oh, what did I do? Get some ink on? Oh no, that's a piece of fuzzy something. And then I also took a piece of gold twine. Let me see, do I have it up here? I thought I had it out. Oh yeah, I do. It is the Simply Elegant trim, and you get gold and silver. And I believe that's being carried over. Now, I'm going to adhere it using a glue dot. I'm going to pull the glue dot off. Normally I would stick it right on there, but what I want to do is smush it a little bit because it's not much of a knot. This is very, very small. So I'm going to put it on there, and then I'm going to kind of smush it around and get it so that you can't really see it. And then hide it in the back and put it, oops, put it kind of like right there, because there's a lot of empty white space at the top, and I wanted to cover it with something. And there it is, completed. Yeah, I think I kind of, yeah, that pink, that really didn't do any justice to it. I really like the cherry cobbler. The paper looks a whole lot better against the cherry cobbler cardstock. I like that better. You might have some cardstock that would fit even better. I'm not sure. So that is card number 3. And I hope you liked that one. So let me bring them back in. Here are the 3. This one I absolutely love. Out of all 3, I gotta be honest, I think this one was my favorite. So here's the one that I did with the seahorse in kind of green, and this is the one in blue. So I'm not sure which one might be your favorite. So I'll put that down. And then the henna hearts. And these are the 3. Now, as I've said before, this is not the last time I'm going to be doing a video using retired products. I will continue to do that, but it will not be solely what I do. I have a video that I want to do next week showing you it's kind of as a follow-up to that video I did about, spending a lot of money on products that I didn't use or hardly ever used. So the fact that I had a plan that I was going to go into this new catalog season with a plan of not spending a lot of money, or at least as much money as I had been. So I want to do another video to show you what I bought and how I did. So that is going to be coming next week once the catalog launches. Or actually I could probably do it before then. I could show you the things that I bought. I just can't show you the catalog itself until the catalog launches, which will be Tuesday, May 3rd. So that's next Tuesday. In the meantime, I want to thank you very much for watching and sticking with me. I appreciate it. And have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.